back.
Welcome back.
We got a new setup.
Yeah, we completely changed everything.
We changed a lot. We
It
got
looks
a
way better.
couch. We got a new board behind us. We got this beautiful microphone. Don't get too tingly.
It's kind of creepy.
And we have a table now. So we're moving up in the world.
We're moving up in the world.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't actually get anything new and we just moved everything that was already in here around.
It's good enough.
But, whatever.
Yeah.
We just
it's
reorganized.
great.
And it's way better.
The couch is way more comfortable too.
Sorry, I kind of picked one.
Yeah. So
I didn't really say I was picking one.
That's
I just
okay.
kind of instinctively grabbed one.
all right, so today's topic is going to be
Adventure.
adventure. Ooh.
Adventure.
Oh, that's easy.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's something,
We do.
yeah.
We've done that.
do it a lot.
A little bit.
So if you're not familiar with our show or our
This
channel,
is an adventure.
Clifford, Basil, Eddie, Dion, we sit here and we just draw a topic from this little jar and we just have to talk about it. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple.
Pretty straightforward.
You'll notice our sign behind us. If you're bored here, it's your fault. Not really applicable to our show, but
not
just kind of
anymore.
applicable to life.
It was.
Hmm.
I think, we almost called it that,
Yeah.
but it's kind of long.
Yeah.
It's the slogan now.
It was weird to have as a name for a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good slogan, though, so we're
Yeah.
going to stick with that.
Yeah, it's a great quote to have behind our heads. So
It's a good one.
read it, follow it, write it down if you want. It's a good time.
Adventure.
Adventure.
Do you want to talk about adventure?
Sure, I'll start adventure, I guess.
Adventure. Where to
Um,
put it?
what is adventure to you?
To me,
Yeah, just really brief.
doing or trying something you've never done or experienced.
Okay, I would probably be on the same line with that.
There's so many things, but like doing something that you've already done can still be an adventure.
I feel like
it's
if
just
you do the same hike twice, it's still an
Yeah.
adventure because you're still going to experience something different.
there's like an actual saying, I think Yvonne Chouinard said it. It's like if something doesn't go wrong, it wasn't an adventure. That's another thing you could apply to it.
True.
Adventure is basically doing something out of the ordinary, either because you can go on mental adventures too.
Yeah,
You can go on physical adventures.
Yeah.
You can go on psychedelic adventures. There's
yeah,
so many different adventures you can go on.
yeah,
And I think adventure is probably one of the key things that make life what it is.
yeah,
That make up people's lives. Because adventures are the sources of stories. They're the sources of basically all your memories. And all your best memories come from crazy adventures.
Yeah.
Whenever you think about traveling, it doesn't have to be traveling to the other side of the world as an adventure. An adventure
No.
can literally just be going...
you can be going into your backyard.
if you go into your backyard,
You
it's
can
basically
adventure
just
your backyard.
intentionally going out and doing something that you don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Summing that up.
Kind of going out and doing a learning experience. The official definition, as according to, I don't know why you have Bing as your search engine.
Dude, I don't know either.
That's the
No.
worst search engine to have.
It's because I was in Africa. And when I was using...
Are you blaming the Africans right now?
What? Yes. No, I think their main server might be Bing. Because I didn't choose to start using Bing.
Nah,
but
whatever.
as soon as I got back, I know, but it's annoying me because I don't want to use Bing. I keep searching Google into Bing and it feels weird.
Yeah.
But anyways,
you
read
can
the-
change
read
it.
the
That's okay.
definition.
So basically, the official definition of adventure is an unusual and exciting, typically hazardous experience or activity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with the typically hazardous because I feel like going through like a walk through the woods isn't necessarily typically hazardous.
There's cougars in the
Right?
woods.
I mean, there is cougars. It can be hazardous, but it's not typically hazardous.
But real adventure.
For
like
sure.
when you think about like adventure as a genre of
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
it's never like
Yeah. It's never
Simple.
locked. Yeah, it's,
it's
never,
never
locked
safe.
in one place.
It's never simple. It's
Yeah.
always a little bit hazardous.
Never boring.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like adventures are fun.
all the adventurers that
exciting.
are like looked up to in
Yeah.
the world too, like whether they're on TV shows or they're
Instagram,
climbers or
yeah.
Instagram or whatever. It's always something that's a little bit hard to do, something not many people want to do
Right.
or have the courage to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What does adventure mean to you?
I mean, I would
Ask me
definitely
that question.
agree. Like, adventure is. I mean, there's so many ways that I interpret it. I've never really thought of like what it
it's-
actually means to
It's
me.
hard to talk about.
It is, yeah. It's hard to sort of define clearly, like what is adventure.
Yeah.
Because
I
I think
feel
there's a
like-
lot of it's very subjective to everybody.
Yeah, and I feel like both of us have made adventure kind of the prime
Yeah.
like backbone of the past couple of years
Yeah,
of our life.
totally. My life is all about adventure.
Yeah, so is mine.
Yeah.
But that's why it's weird that it's hard to talk about
Mm-hmm.
because it's such a big part of our life. But
Yeah. I
This
feel
is
like
a
an
hard
adventure
one.
to me is where it's almost always based in the outdoors. And yeah, I'm going into an environment in which I'm going to learn something new or
Yeah.
I'm going to experience something that maybe I've never experienced before. But like you said, you don't necessarily know the outcome
Yeah.
of what's coming.
here's how we can make this interesting.
Okay.
What do you think adventure has become now because of like Instagram and because I see that conversation a lot
Yeah.
on social media about people saying like going on an adventure, but then there's like the people who go on adventures, like
Yeah.
hardcore adventures that are like
Yeah.
that's not an adventure.
Yeah.
So do you think there's a line,
Um,
or is
I don't
it
think
based
so.
on the person?
It's based on the person. It's very
I guess
subjective.
Yeah, it's very subjective.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can't really, you can't
can't
put
define
one, you can't put one strict definition because there's always going to be someone that's like, well, that's not what I think of when I go adventuring.
Yeah, because like I remember when we were just
Some
getting
people love adventuring to big cities.
exactly
That's an adventure.
Yeah,
Going to a new city is an adventure.
and like to me, I like mental adventures.
Mm.
Like I think that's an adventure. Like I can be in one spot,
Yeah.
but I can like think about something or read something really out there, like a really crazy theory or something.
Yeah.
And that entertains me as much as going on a physical adventure does.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Obviously it's gotta be a real interesting topic.
Definitely.
But I remember when we were first getting into photography, and that's just what we would say.
Yeah.
We would just say we're gonna go like, do you want to go on an adventure? Want to
Yeah.
go on an adventure? Didn't matter.
Even
if it was,
still. Yeah.
even if it was like going to the ocean for 20 minutes, like to watch
an
sunrise or whatever.
adventure,
It's an
yeah.
adventure going on a hike.
You don't know what that
Yeah.
sunrise is going to look like.
Yeah, it's just weird that it's become such a topic for like dispute almost.
Or also just a really marketable term.
Yeah, like it's become yeah, I guess that's a way to put it, marketable term. But I just feel like, I mean, I don't know because I didn't live hundreds of years ago, but I feel like hundreds of years ago, adventure based to now adventure is very different.
Maybe, yeah.
Because even I remember
You're thinking like expedition adventure.
expedition
Sailing
adventure,
to new lands
or
and
just
going to undiscovered places kind of thing.
because adventure is no longer really about the unknown.
It can be about the
know?
unknown within yourself.
Wow,
That's what it is for me.
that was deep.
A big part of
I
it.
really changed lanes there.
Actually, so a few weeks ago, well, I guess maybe closer to a month or so ago, before the whole coronavirus thing,
Yeah.
I was talking to my boss of the outdoor store that I work at.
The adventure store.
Yeah, the adventure store, basically. And, she was just kind of talking one day about, oh, like maybe we should change our mission statement, this and that. And basically, our mission statement is to be the premier outdoor store in British Columbia. And, that's okay. But it's boring. It's dull. It's not exciting.
Feels like a pitch to another business.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about it that night, or like I wasn't even thinking about it. Sorry, I was laying in bed, like trying to fall asleep, and this phrase came into my head, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is it." And basically, as I was laying there, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something really close to, for the mission statement. Basically, the phrase was, inspiring people to learn more about themselves through outdoor experiences.
That's a good one.
Because
I like
at the
that.
end of the day, working at an outdoor store, we're
That's a
selling
really good-
tents, hiking gear, outdoors gear, climbing gear, backpacks for backpacking, travel
Yeah,
gear.
you can't really like sum that.
Why do you do all that stuff? Why do you go to a store to buy all that stuff? It's because you want to, whether you know it or not, everyone wants to go and travel or explore or adventure.
A little bit. There's a little bit in everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think there is.
To learn more
Yeah.
about yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know what you're going into or what's out
Mm-hmm.
there. And it's like you might tell yourself, oh, I want to learn about what's out there. But in reality, the most learning you do is in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely if it's
Do you
like...
think I should charge them for that?
I almost said it as a joke. I'm like, you shouldn't give them that for free, man.
I know.
You should put a price on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. It's kind of hard to talk about. I'm struggling with this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think
I can't specify it
Okay.
in my brain.
So
Like, I
let's
can't
let's
think
move
of-
on to the next thing. What's your favorite adventure that you've been on? Best adventure.
Dude, there's a lot. I don't. But there's so it's kind of like when people say like, where was your favorite place you've traveled to?
Yeah.
It's like every place is different for its own
Everyone's
reason.
different. Okay.
Like, and
What was your scariest adventure?
probably Sea Shepherd.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to share any of
Oh,
that?
yeah.
What
It
can
was
you,
just
what can
'cause-
you share about that?
So basically, I went on a Sea Shepherd vessel. Sea Shepherd is like an environmental organization, specifically kind of revolving around the ocean. The specific campaign I was on was based around illegal fishing.
Stopping poachers.
Basically stopping poachers, and I was off the coast of Liberia. The campaign was called Sola Stella, and for one, it's just that in itself is kind of sketchy that we
Yeah.
were off the coast of Liberia, and like it's not that I want to like judge a place, but it's not the safest place on the planet
For sure.
And basically what we did is we were on patrol going up and down the borders of Liberian waters. So every country has, I think it's called the EEZ. And it's basically this zone that is their ocean.
Yeah.
It's like Canada has one.
Yeah.
And it goes out 200 miles. So like the border,
Right.
200 miles out. So basically we just like went around that area looking for illegal fishermen.
Yeah.
So basically poachers.
Yeah.
And the scariest part was the first boarding we did.
So what is a boarding?
A boarding was basically, I wish I could put the footage in because it'd be sick to put it, but I can't. So I was the videographer on the boat because they always have media on every boat. Basically we have our boat, which is a 57-meter boat. It's a big boat.
Yeah.
There's 25 people on the boat. And on the front of the boat, there's two small boats that sit in like cradles, and there's a big crane that
drops them over
lifts
the edge.
the boats up, over, and then down.
Yeah.
And then we climb in ladders down to the boats, and then we take off and do our thing.
Yeah.
So we all have like teams, and we have I'm just gonna call them like security guards, like armed security guards with us, and when we find a boat that we think could potentially be doing illegal fishing, we unload the boats, get into the boats with our teams, and then we literally go board the boat.
Yeah.
And we hit them up with radio. We're
Yeah.
like, hey, we're blah, blah, blah. We're coming to board you. And it's kind of like, it's almost like we're the cops and they're a pedestrian driving.
Right.
Or a citizen driving.
You're pulling them over, essentially.
We're allowed to pull them over, and they should be, they're expecting, not expecting, but they know they have to allow us to pull them over. So it's not like we're in a boat chase or something. It's
Yeah.
just like the scary part is you don't know what's on board because we're going after people who we think are doing illegal things. And if they're already
Essentially
doing illegal things, we're essentially going after criminals. And the scary part, I remember the first boarding we did was a night boarding. It was in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So it was pitch black. Milky Way was beautiful though, because we were like out in the middle of the ocean.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, and the boat that we were boarding, I think it was 2 miles away. I forget how far it was, but it took us like 15 minutes to get there. And middle of the night, can't see anything. And we're in there's two small boats, two teams. And we're basically just ripping across the ocean, pitch black, can't see anything. You're just hoping there's not like a log in the water or another boat, because there's like artisanal fishermen that are out in like their canoes and shit.
Right.
So you're literally just like, open it, let's hit something.
See
So
what
that in
happens,
itself was
yeah.
scary. But then we roll up to the boat, and this was the biggest boat that we boarded.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually a fishing boat. I forget the proper name for it, but it was basically a cargo boat for fish.
Yeah.
So the fishing boats catch the fish, put the fish on the cargo boat, and the cargo boat takes that to whatever country is buying the fish.
Yeah.
So that's the type of boat we were boarding. And the walls of the boat were like, they were probably, I don't want to exaggerate, they were probably 30 to 40 feet tall. And so what we do to board the boat is the big boat's rolling along, and we have to keep moving because it's actually easier
Yeah.
to keep the boat steady. So the boat goes along at around 10 knots, which is about 10 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
And then we, in the little boats, actually come up alongside it and push up against it.
Yeah.
And we push our nose into it and we go along the side of the boat like that.
Oh,
and then
interesting.
as we're doing that, they drop a ladder.
Yeah.
And we climb up the ladder.
What if they don't drop a
board-
ladder?
So
Do you guys have hooks with ropes and you like
no,
climb up?
I mean, Sea Shepherd used to be hardcore like that,
Yeah.
but they're not really anymore. But we have security guards with us, and if they don't,
Probably dangerous.
it's super dangerous. Man, climbing the ladders. I'll show you the footage. I think, have I showed you that footage?
You haven't shown me anything.
Yeah, I remember, yeah. I guess I've only been with you for like a week.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. Like if you fall off the ladder, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Because the big boat, a boat that's that massive, and I think this boat was 118 meters.
Damn.
It's
Twice the size of your other
twice
boat.
the size of our boat, and our boat was big. And
Yeah.
a boat that big has suction. So
Yeah.
basically, anything that falls off the boat
Yeah.
doesn't just like stuck in the water. It gets sucked under the boat to the prop. So if you fall off the ladder, I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying this.
You're essentially gonna die.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I just can't. That guys can say shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was the scary. Like it was physically scary because
Yeah.
we're in the middle of the ocean. There's literally like
Don't guys have like guns?
that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Is the scary part?
It's
isn't-
serious.
It's very serious. It's like I remember talking to one of the guys on the boat, and we were like, it's crazy that we're basically doing like almost military operations. But
Yeah.
everyone's just a volunteer.
Yeah.
Everyone's just a volunteer that signed
That's
up
crazy.
online.
Yeah.
And it's when you get there, you realize how crazy it is.
Yeah.
And it is very organized and it's very safe. Like they take safety very, very seriously. It's just like obviously like any adventure, you gotta kind of step over the safety line a little bit every now and then.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily what we were physically doing. It was the unknown
Yeah.
of when we were boarding ships. We're like, what's going to be on the boat?
Yeah.
It's like, because for all we know, it could be like a drug boat.
Yeah.
Or it could be, they could have guns or blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And like, we never had anything crazy.
Yeah.
And even after, like, I remember by like the third boat, it was just like, all right, we're just doing another boarding.
Yeah.
But like the first one and the second one, we're just like sitting in the boat. You're just like,
Yeah. Kind of waiting to go to war almost, it sounds like. There's probably similar emotions.
not, but because like we have people with us that are security and they're like pretty heavily armed and they go on first and
Sure,
like secure the boat.
Yeah.
And we don't even go, like we hang out in the small boats away from the big boat until
Yeah.
they radio us and tell us what's going on and say like, yeah, it's safe to board now. So then we go board.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if just look up Sea Shepherd, if you're interested, like look up Sea Shepherd and look up like
Yeah,
Sea
they do some
Shepherd.
pretty crazy stuff.
Look up Sea Shepherd boarding and
Yeah.
you'll see. And if you look up like the Antarctic stuff is fucking insane.
Really?
Like,
What goes on in
yeah,
Antarctica?
man. It's not actually going on anymore. But no, you know Whale Wars?
No.
So Whale Wars was this like Discovery Channel show that was based around Sea Shepherd.
Oh,
and it was
okay.
when and it's kind of what they're like famous for.
Yeah.
And they were basically their Sea Shepherd vessels were chasing and trying to stop illegal fishing whale fishermen
Oh,
or
okay.
whaling boats.
Yeah.
Mostly from Japan.
Yeah.
So that whole series is about that, and like, that was pretty radical. Not like radical, like that was radical, but it was like radical in the sense
Crazy.
like
Yeah.
everyone on that boat knew that they were in pretty big danger because like
Right.
there's a lot of footage of them like throwing smoke bombs and like rubber bullets and
Yeah.
shit. Like, and there was there's this footage of a guy. They're trying to board one of the boats, but there's crazy waves because there's insane waves in Antarctica.
Yeah.
The ocean down there is like insanely rough. And for some reason he was, I forget exactly what happened, but the boat like went up on a wave.
Yeah.
And he grabbed the ladder and then the wave dropped.
Yeah.
And the boat dropped and he
dangling.
was like dangling by the ladder.
Jesus.
And it like, I mean, we didn't do that kind of shit,
course,
but
yeah.
like watching some of the videos, and then
Yeah.
Sea Shepherd also used to be way more radical.
Yeah.
Like they would literally just ram boats.
Yeah.
Like they would be
were
like, "You're
hardcore.
illegally fishing. We're just gonna sink your boat."
Yeah.
So they actually got like nicknames like pirates,
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah,
kind of
because
like
they had the flag.
then they
with-
kind of owned it.
Yeah.
They kind of like, all right, well, we're gonna be
we're
pirates,
pirates.
then.
Yeah.
And
Good
like,
pirates, kind of.
and now
Good.
they don't do that. There's no way in hell because now they work with
They're
governments.
so political.
Yeah, they're political now.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not like the safest thing, but they're not out ramming boats anymore.
Yeah.
Because the guy who owns Sea Shepherd, wow, why do I forget his name? I don't know, the guy who owns Sea Shepherd, he's known as being like a crazy radical guy.
Right.
And he was actually in Greenpeace, which is another environmental organization, and they kicked him out of Greenpeace
Because it's too crazy.
because he was too radical. And he was like, fuck it, I'm going to start Sea Shepherd. So
Yeah.
he started Sea Shepherd, and that's how it became what it is.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
there is definitely those sort of eco-terrorist people out there that are
Yeah.
too crazy.
But like, so there's he is insane,
Yeah.
and he is radical.
Yeah.
But you also need those people
For sure.
Because
those are the
he-
people who enact change.
because he has made probably the most impact.
Yeah.
And Sea Shepherd is probably the most direct impact organization
Yeah.
working in the ocean.
He made impact in the right ways and did things
Yeah.
in sort of the right ways of...
So there, yeah.
He wasn't crazy in the sense where he was doing more harm than good.
Yeah. Not anymore, anyways.
Yeah.
But like, you almost kind of need that radical person every now and then to
Definitely.
kickstart
Definitely.
a bit of a movement.
Especially
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a big kind of societal movement, like something that's ingrained in society.
Yeah.
To not think about, especially environmental things,
Yeah.
because most people don't think about environmentalism whatsoever.
Not to the extent that they should or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it almost takes those radical acts or those
Yeah. But
those
they're-
crazy things, those adventures.
Yeah, they're huge now. Like there's boats all around the world. There's a boat off the coast of the island.
Is there?
Yeah, it goes up and down the island. Like I think they do a lot with salmon farming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like there's places all over. There's like Australia.
Yeah.
Norway is very centered around whaling.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Japan and dolphins maybe.
I don't know what they do over there. They do stuff with dolphins in France, which I didn't know.
Oh, interesting.
There's like
Yeah.
a lot of They like fishermen will go out and they'll
Yeah.
catch and eat dolphins on the boat.
Those French people,
French
man.
people are
They just want to
assholes.
eat everything.
Yeah.
Like
Do they?
anything where they're like, "Oh, this would be very good." That was the worst French accent.
It's pretty great.
But anything, snails, whatever. They
I
don't
guess they do
care.
have some
They're like,
weird
"Oh,
food."
this looks kind of cool.
yeah,
We can make something out of this. Who cares if it's bad for the world?"
yeah. French
Like,
people are assholes.
Frogua, whatever the geese thing is, where they basically, I forget what it is. It's like geese.
Geese shit.
It's not shit. It's I think it's liver or something. I don't know. I'm completely butchering this. But essentially, the way that they have to force feed the geese with these tubes where they shove it down the geese's mouth and down their neck, and then they force feed the goose so it eats a certain diet, and then at the end of it, when you go to like harvest the goose, you get the foie gras or however the hell you say it. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's actually really bad, but honestly, it tastes so good. It's like this like creamy,
You asshole.
buttery,
like
creamy
eating shark fin soup.
cheese kind of. Yeah, it was good. My friend had it. I was like, I mean, the goose has already been cooked, so I mean,
Guess it's
May
better
as well
to just
try
not
it.
Waste it.
yeah, why waste it, But I mean, I would never go out of my way to buy it. Because,
Yeah.
First of all, it is good, but it's also pretty expensive,
I bet.
and so it's just not worth it to
it's
me.
a lot of effort.
Luxury
to make,
stuff like
probably
that.
Not a lot of food from one goose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
But yeah, that was my scare. That was my. What was your question? Scariest adventure.
Scariest
Greatest-
adventure.
Scariest adventure. That was definitely probably that was the.
That's a good one because
That was
not
the
many people
most-
have been to Africa. Not many people have been on a crazy African boat.
Plus
pulling
I
over
was-
potential criminals.
Plus,
in
I was
ocean.
on the boat for 68 days
Straight.
straight.
Wow.
No, that's not true. I stood on a beach for about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the seashells.
No,
Oh,
that's
not quite.
other side
Okay.
and really far into the ocean.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we were on the west side.
West
But yeah,
side.
the west. So yeah, been in a lot of isolation the last couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
So now I'm isolated. I mean, this is not really isolation.
This is This is kind of
Kind of isolation. It's nice isolation.
obligatory isolation.
What does that even mean?
Did I say that right?
I don't know. I know I've heard that
Obligatory?
word. Obligatory?
Obligatory. Yeah, you're obliged to do it. Sort of.
Sure.
Isolation. How did we get here?
I don't know. What's your scariest story, Dion?
Well, mine's certainly not as extreme as that. And I was kind of thinking about this. And I think, honestly, if I have to answer, my scariest adventure would be moving out of my mom's house and moving 1,600 kilometers away to the west coast of Canada.
That's a different kind of scary.
Completely different kind of scary, because it's not necessarily dangerous in any way like yours was, but it's scary for different reasons.
It's like a mental scary.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess everything's a mental scary, but it's like it's like that's your life.
Yeah.
It's like a
for time.
life choice. We got a few more minutes still.
Okay.
20. Not many.
Okay.
You can sum it up in 4 minutes.
I can do this quick.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I got laid off from my job, and I basically decided that I didn't like where I was living back in Edmonton, Alberta. And I have a grandma that lives out here. She lives on a small island off of Vancouver Island. So she lives on an island off of an island.
I've never actually been there.
It's really nice. We have to go. We should go this summer. But she had a place there for a really long time. And my family, like my mom and stuff, we'd always come out and go camping out here every summer. So I was pretty familiar with the West Coast in that sense. And I always came out here for a week or two to see my grandma.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anyone out here for the most part. You know, maybe my grandma and some of her friends, but I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And so when I got laid off from my job when I was 18, I didn't really know what I was going to do with my future. My job was done. So I basically was like, hey, grandma, would it be cool if I came out? Because I wanted to get out of Edmonton, just because I felt like for where I was, it was a very dead end place.
Yeah.
And I felt sort of trapped there, and not for like any good reasons. And so I was like,
there's no reason for you to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm young. Like, I'm just going to do it. So like less than 2 weeks after I got laid off, I packed up my car and all my important stuff, like my drum set and
all my important stuff.
Like literally my drum set and a few things and clothes. And I packed it. Oh, my TV was very important at that time.
Important.
And I drove it all out here. And I remember, so before I moved out, my best friend's mom, Lauren, her mom got me a little journal, like a diary.
Yeah.
A really nice handmade journal. And I remember that entire drive out. And when I first got out here for the first like 3 or 4 months, I was writing almost every day.
Oh, really?
And this was back in 2014. So little 18-year-old me hasn't really experienced anything. I hadn't traveled at that point. I'd been out to the West Coast a bit and, done a lot of camping and stuff, but I haven't really experienced the world. I come out here, and I remember the night that I arrived. I was in Nanaimo, so I was on Vancouver Island, and I was waiting for the ferry to go to Gabriola Island. That's where my grandma was living. And as I was waiting for the ferry, there was like a Subway across the street. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. I want to go get some food. And so I was just driving through the parking lot. And it's in this big shopping complex, so it's a pretty big parking lot. And it was maybe 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It was pretty late. I was driving through the parking lot, and I accidentally sort of ran a stop sign. But it was the kind of stop sign where it's in a parking lot where you're like, yeah, fuck that stop sign.
It doesn't really. But it's a suggestion.
Yeah. And as I was going through it, this other guy, I didn't see him, was like going to go through. So I like cut him off. And it was in a parking lot. We were maybe doing 10 or 15. It wasn't serious in any way. And I go to Subway. I go in, and this fucking guy follows me in. And he's got to be in his like mid to late 30s. And he follows me in behind me. I didn't realize until he came up and he was standing behind me because I had gone to order.
Yeah.
And he was like, I forget exactly what he said, but he comes up to me and he's all mad. He's like, hey man, you cut me off back there. What the fuck? And I was just like, what? I was exhausted, dude. I drove the entire way from Edmonton all the way out here. It's like a 14-hour day.
It's a long
I was so exhausted. It was super late. I was just trying to get some food. I was kind of out of it. And I was like, wait, what? And this guy was like, yeah, man, you just fucking cut me off. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, what do you want from me here? And he just kind of realized it wasn't going anywhere. So he fucked off. But I remember after that, I just had this feeling in my gut where I was just like, this was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing?
It sucks when something bad happens right off the
Yeah.
bat.
And so I didn't know anyone when I moved out here. And my grandma's place, because it was on the smaller island, it's a very small community. So it's not the easiest place to just go out and meet people.
Yeah.
And so I spent
you can't meet anyone there.
Exactly. It wasn't the easiest place to meet people. And so I felt very isolated and trapped, and it makes it really hard to start somewhere essentially new when you feel like you don't really have an opportunity to,
Yeah.
I don't know, meet people, or like just because I feel like everyone needs to sort of root themselves in a community.
How many people are there?
I don't know. I'm not sure. And it varies completely between summer and winter.
Yeah.
Because in the summer, all these people flock there, and it's a huge kind of tourism place. And then in the winter, there's like not nearly as many people.
Yeah, because it's a small island.
Yeah.
Like it's, you could like walk around it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember being that 18-year-old kid and having not really experienced much of the world, and just coming from, especially coming from an extremely well-paying job. I was making like 70 grand a year when I was 18, and I got laid off from it, and I was making crazy money.
Yeah.
And then I move out here and I start washing dishes maybe 8 hours a week. That's all I could get for work when I first
Yeah.
moved out here. So I went from making $70,000 a year to making like maybe a couple $100s a week. It was crazy.
It's a bit of a difference.
So yeah, but I also learned so much from that, because I learned how, I don't know if easy is the right word, but how capable I am at sort of starting from zero, because I've done
Yeah.
it so many times in my life.
Start from scratch.
Yeah, I just sort of started from zero. Even when I moved from Gabriel Island into Nanaimo on Vancouver Island. Once
Yeah.
I moved from the small island to the main island, that was essentially starting from zero again,
Yeah.
because I had to give up that entire community that I knew there, and I didn't know that many people in Nanaimo yet.
Yeah.
So I started from zero again. And then when I got back from traveling, I started from zero after you and I went traveling, because I didn't have any work lined up. I was essentially, I had people. That was the one thing I did have.
Yeah.
And then again, last year, moving to Victoria, starting completely from zero. I knew a few people from Victoria, but not nearly enough to have a community.
Was I there before you or after?
You were there.
I was there before you,
Before
a
me.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few months before me. And then again, last year when my van was stolen and all of my photo video production gear was taken. So I feel like I used that experience of moving out here when I was 18 and essentially starting from zero and kind of having nothing. I learned how to build everything for myself. And so now when other experiences have happened where that is the case, I feel like I have that tool where I'm like, oh, I'm starting
Yeah.
from the bottom. Okay, I've done this a million times. What's one more? You know, I can do this. I'm capable.
Yeah.
I don't need to rely on X amount of people or X people or X job or X experience or X skills. Like I have all the things that I need to start from the bottom.
Life's an adventure.
Life
You
is
just
a
covered
huge
like 4
adventure.
years of your life in like a couple months.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, for the
That's-
most part.
Yeah, it's crazy if you think if you think about it in that way, in the term that life is an adventure. Everything is a bit of an adventure,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah.
Anything is changing over time.
When you don't know the outcome of a situation that you're putting yourself into, I
And you
feel like
never
that's
know.
an adventure.
You never know.
No.
You never know.
Starting a new job is an adventure.
So everything's an adventure.
Yeah. I love adventures. Adventures are the reason that
Life
I'm
is
out
adventure.
here. Same reason
That's
that you're here.
dude. It's the reason.
That's
I'm
the
here.
reason we met. We met on a road
Yeah.
trip.
Dude, we should tell that. That's a fucking great story.
Okay, we'll do a really quick how Eddie and I met
How
story.
we met.
So basically, here's what it was.
You gotta preface. Actually, just go for it.
Okay, so
throw
I
in shit
had
that
just gotten into Instagram not very long ago, and actually, let's go back further than that. So Eddie and I, we grew up in the same
That's what I was
town.
gonna say. We gotta say like the weird part about
Yeah.
it.
So we grew up in the same town, and we sort of knew similar groups of people, but we never interacted in any way as young people.
I
ever.
think I maybe saw you like once or
Yeah,
twice.
we would have seen each other around school, but somehow we were friends on Facebook for like literally the
That's
past
'cause we lived in
10
a
or 11 years.
place with not many
Yeah.
people.
So we knew each other on Facebook, and I started getting more into Instagram once I bought a camera because I moved out here and bought a camera because it was so beautiful. So I started going on Instagram a bit more and just kind of sharing photos. And then I remember you had either just gone to Africa or just gotten back from Africa,
I got
and
back.
you started a wildlife account where you were sharing really incredible photos of different wildlife and landscape
yeah.
things from around the
I remember that.
Allegiance
I
World
forgot
or
about
something
that.
like that.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh man, this is so cool, such a cool account. So that's how I kind of like, you first sort of came on my radar. And then I think we started interacting a little bit online through that.
Yeah.
And then I remember I posted a story talking about this road trip I was going on down through California, down through Washington, Oregon, and then back up. And it was like a 2-week road trip or something. And I was basically just putting it on there. I was asking people, hey, where do you guys think I should go? What recommendations for places do you have? And then Eddie replies to it. He's like, hey, man, is it cool if I come? Basically along those lines. And I was like, okay.
I'm just like this loner kid. Can I join your adventure?
Yeah, well, I think you had just started living in your van at that point, right?
That was the first time I ever lived in a van.
Yeah.
Was because I remember I got back from my first backpacking trip, and I worked in Edmonton for like a couple months, and I was like, fuck this.
Right.
Because I was like, my mind had just been blown by traveling. I'm like, fuck working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
I want to go travel more. And that's why. And then when I saw your thing, I was already prepping to like live in a van.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Someone to like go hang out with. And then
Totally.
I ripped down.
We met in Oregon,
Astoria, Oregon.
Under the bridge at the KFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will always hold a special place in my heart.
Oh,
and then, we drove down the coast, the Oregon and California coast, all the way down to Santa Cruz. Spent a week in Santa Cruz surfing. We got our surfboards from Ed. And
Ed. Awesome. I remember Ed. Man, this is nostalgic talking about all this.
Was it Ed's surf school?
And we met Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan taught us how to surf, kind of.
Yeah, Ryan taught us how to surf, and we just spent a week down in Santa Cruz.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then we took off back up here. Eddie's original plan was to move to Whistler.
Yeah.
And then I somehow just talking about Vancouver Island all the time. You were like, oh man, I'm coming to the island.
It didn't take a lot to convince me.
I
honestly think the reason I came to the island was because we became friends.
Just because you knew me.
And just because like it was either Whistler, and I'm so glad I came here. It's so much better here than Whistler.
Yeah.
I mean, Whistler's amazing. Yeah. But just the fact that it was either go here and know nobody, or go here and know at least one person. Yeah. And also the reason I never, and it was kind of one of the reasons I think it's kind of crazy that you convinced me, or one of the reasons I came out here is because I knew nothing about the island.
Right.
Like I didn't.
A lot of people don't. We should be quiet about the island.
Yeah, we should actually.
Don't come here. It sucks.
It sucks.
You're gonna hate it. It's just stay
shit.
at home. Go to Vancouver, Joffrey Lakes,
the ocean's
Garibaldi, Squamish, Whistler, Pemberton. Like, come on, it's so beautiful over there. Just go explore there.
I shouldn't have said Whistler wasn't good. Whistler is actually amazing.
Whistler's way better than Vancouver Island.
It's way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and then, wait, what was, remember, and then we hit, I'm trying to think of what, and that's when we went to Lynn Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Dude, that seems like that was like a year ago.
Oh, that was weird.
That was long. Remember we just like hit up, that was that day
I
that
forgot
we
that was that
drove
road trip. Yeah.
all the way through Washington.
We went cliff jumping there.
We went from that waterfall, the top of Oregon. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, the big one.
The big one, and it's got the bridge across it. It's got like a bridge.
Dude, I remember when I was first getting into Instagram, like Instagram, and the culture of it. Yeah. I remember that waterfall. What is it called? I can't remember. I'll throw a picture up. Yeah. But I remember that waterfall, to me, was like the pinnacle of the PNW. Like, I remember when PNW meant something on Instagram. Yeah, and it was like, it's become so overused.
It's almost just disappeared. Same with like, remember Wanderlust?
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, we drove from that waterfall to Lynn Canyon in one trip. Yeah. It was like, it's not that far actually.
No, it's not too far.
It's like
7 hours.
Yeah. And then we went swimming in Lynn Canyon, which you're not supposed to do.
Oh.
There's signs everywhere. Because there's like, that's where that water slide is.
Yeah, the bump slide.
The natural water slide. Yeah. You look at it, you're like, that's a fucking waterfall. Don't slide down that, you idiots.
Yeah. I want to try sliding down that, to be honest.
You're an idiot. It's
Yes, I will not deny that, but it looks like fun.
Yeah. But anyways, kind of crazy. Yeah, but that's a pretty crazy adventure.
Definitely.
I think that I don't know why I wasn't scared about that.
You know what's funny about adventure?
Scared about that.
Adventure completely defines our entire friendship.
Pretty much everything we do, yeah.
It completely defines. It's how we met. We went on our 3-month backpacking trip through Asia.
That's kind of how we hang out
together. Sort of how we hang out.
Like now we live together, so it's different. But but when we were just becoming friends on the island,
it was let's go hike somewhere.
You would either come and chill out at the place I was living, or we would go for like a little hike. Yeah.
Or we'd go sit in hammocks and watch sunset with a group of people.
Oh, man.
I miss those days.
Oh, man.
I'm really happy to be in Nanaimo again. Sort of in Nanaimo.
Sort of in Nanaimo. I remember... I don't remember which summer it was, but I went to that sunset spot every night.
Yeah. 2017.
What summer was it? Was it 2017?
100% 2017.
But there was one summer that it was a group of people that always went, and then
Yeah.
there was one summer that I just went. I was like, I don't care if there's anyone coming with me.
Yeah.
And I literally went. It was when I came back from.
Oh, 2018. From traveling.
Yeah, when I came
Yeah.
back from. It was the time I came back from Bali when we were in
Yeah.
Indonesia,
Yeah.
and then I went back a month later.
Yeah.
That month in July.
Yeah.
Every single day.
And everyone was
Every
always
day.
available.
Everyone was always available.
We always had a group of people, and it was always the
Yeah.
same, like, good, solid crew of people.
Our first summer here was fucking epic.
Yeah.
All we did was do shit. All we
Totally.
did was we'd go out. We
Yeah.
stayed up. I remember crashing.
Yeah.
Like mentally and physically
Oh,
crashing.
yeah.
Because we got no sleep.
Yeah.
From like the middle of
Yeah.
June to
Sunrise
the
and
middle of
sunsets,
July.
man.
Because we did sunrise and sunset like all the time. We did stargazing all the time, and then
Yeah.
we went on adventures during the day.
Yeah.
And I just remember at the beginning of August, I crashed.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd ever
all
experienced that
did.
type of exhaustion.
Yeah.
And like I remember, it took me like literally 2 months to recoup. From
Yeah,
that.
I remember that. I remember talking about that.
Yeah. And I
Because
remember being like, "What's wrong with me?" But I
Yeah.
realized like I literally got like 2
No
weeks
sleep.
worth of sleep
Yeah.
in a month.
Yeah.
In that whole time, and I don't regret it though. That was amazing.
that was a great summer.
Remember-
And, dude, I look back at my photos from that time.
Oh man.
And that was my best year for photos.
Dude,
As weird as that
it's
is
like
to
our
say,
first year.
Yeah,
It was my first
that
year.
was like my best year for
I
my
still-
favorite
yeah.
photos. Like a lot of the ones, actually, not a lot of the ones hanging up, but that one up there, which I'll share, and then that one of Steve and Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Two of like my favorite experiences, because that was on the way to Tofino, and that was when we were just driving around. I wasn't working, I was just doing freelance purely. I had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
We would go on trips, we would go swimming, and then same thing with that. Steve and I would go on trips to the Alpine just to go do crazy adventures and take photos. It was purely
We gotta
just for
throw
the
in-
adventure
We gotta
of it.
throw in like. Did we even take video?
Not as much
We
video.
weren't really into video at that time.
Definitely
we were
more
into
photography. Yeah, more
that's
photography.
I mean, wait, shit, that wasn't in this video.
Okay, I want to put this in this video is like I want to do that more and like document it. Like that's what I want to get back to.
right now.
We can't right now, I know, but like that's what I want to get back to
Yeah.
is those
Dude,
kind of
Because when
summers.
when I think about photography,
Yeah.
I compare it to that time.
Me too, yeah.
Because that was when I was most invested in it. That's when I was really trying to get better.
Yeah.
I was like researching it, and I was actually practicing.
Hanging out with all the same
Hanging out with-
like-minded people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was like probably my most community building time of my life.
Yeah.
One of them. Or it
Yeah.
kickstarted, it kind of taught me how to build community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so free.
That was crazy.
and fun.
Man. That summer was an adventure.
That was a
the
crazy
whole
year.
summer.
I feel like we're gonna be those old guys one day that are like, oh, the old summer of '69.
What
I
year
remember
was
it
it?
well.
Was it 2016?
That was 2018 for me.
Just for you?
2018 was my best. Yeah, after getting back from traveling, because think about it, we went traveling for the first 3 months
That
of
wasn't
the year.
that year.
That was that year. For me, it was.
The first year I was here?
The first
On the
year you were
island?
here was 2017. We met in spring 2017. You got here for the summer and then stayed.
Right.
And then 2018, we went traveling and I got
Right.
back earlier. I decided not to work a normal job and I went out to go and
You
do
went hard.
adventures. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great life.
Couple of years, man.
Yeah.
Man, the last couple of years of my life and your life have been
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
That's my goal, is to get back to that. All the
Yeah.
Robinson's marketing materials that I've used lately
Yeah.
were from that summer.
Really?
Yeah. Everything I've been posting lately
Just
on
going back in
Robinson's.
the archives.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, these are, because I was shooting with that mindset of I want to work for brands. I want to work for brands. And that's what I was
Yeah.
shooting for. And so now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, this is a gold mine.
It worked.
It's a gold mine.
It worked,
Yeah.
man. Now you're working for them and you're using them.
Now my photography is a little bit more,
That's kind of crazy to think
almost
about. Think about
artistic.
that, actually.
yeah.
Think about that. You had the goal in mind
Yeah.
to shoot for something, and now you're using those photos to make money.
Yeah.
I almost pulled away because it was a coronavirus. I
Why
was like,
can't
oh,
we
we can't
high-five?
do that.
Oh, yeah.
To myself in the
Elbow.
face.
Oh, set a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not. We're not setting a good example for coronavirus. We live together. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. We socialize
Yeah.
together. What do you do?
This isn't 6 feet.
That's okay.
Should we cut her off there?
Yeah, let's end it
That was a
there.
good one.
This was a fun episode.
It took a while to get into it,
Yeah,
but I feel like the last half was pretty good.
it's been fun. So,
Man, those were some memories too.
We're reminiscing now.
I'm
We're
like
two old
happy
guys.
because we talked about that.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thanks for watching, and I don't know. Shoot us a message or something on Instagram if
I
you
feel
want.
like I don't even know if we can tell people to subscribe yet because we don't have enough videos.
It doesn't matter. If you want to subscribe. If you don't want to, honestly, it's fine.
Should we commit to anything?
Wait. Better than subscribing.
Subscribing.
Better than subscribing. Just come and hang out with us while we film the show. When coronavirus is over.
I was gonna say
that'd be fun. Imagine that having two people, just like a laugh track.
We have two, like the live, the reality TV shows, or not real. What's that kind of? What's that? Sitcom.
Sitcom.
A sitcom.
Yeah, we'll film our own.
Just
What were you
two-
gonna say?
just two, though.
Before that.
I was gonna say, should we commit to anything? But I don't know if we should commit to like an amount, because I feel like when you put things out there and you put things to the world, you really gotta stick to it.
Yeah.
So like saying like we're gonna do X amount of videos this month.
No.
Or should we just leave it?
We'll just leave it.
Okay.
Let's just let it run, and
It's a stupid idea.
we're just gonna keep doing it.
I'm done.
So keep watching, and we're just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll try to be.
This has been a really drawn out ending. So
Yes.
right on.
Peace.
Peace.